semifinal and another rematch from Saturday's regular season finales. It's going to be the Dolphins of Jacksonville, the Panthers of High Point, the 2-seed High Point against the 3rd-seeded Dolphins. And Jacksonville makes an immediate impact. How about that, Phil Cox? Has put the Dolphins of Jacksonville up 1 in the match's very first minute.
Perhaps a harbinger of a lot of offense today, Jason. Rodgers had a hat trick in that 16-11 win for the Panthers. Both teams executing nicely. Announced by the conference office this week and showing just really good work behind the cage and really doing that one himself.
A couple of meetings in tournament play previously for these two teams. They split them and meeting in the semifinals for the 3rd straight time. So not only the 2nd straight game this year between these teams, but it's become in Richmond, Virginia, come Friday afternoon. That's what's on the line between these two very familiar semifinal opponents. And how about the battle for this face-off?
Yeah, it's so important after a goal.
The lead a little larger here. At a 4-1 advantage. Can the Dolphins answer? Boy, you think about in 6 seconds.
Throw out the early goal allowed by the Panthers. Execution at a high level. Jason to capitalize on the extra man opportunity, and then they flip the field and score. And you mentioned it. You don't want to continue to harp on it, be a broken record, but it's worth mentioning. This does have some similar shades to that.
Jacksonville, but not as much to show for it as the Dolphins would like at this point. This one is going to be, well, it looked as if it was going to be picked up right away by High Point. And now it is secured in the end by the Panthers and left. Very underrated number, Phil.
I like that number.
Doesn't get a lot of love.
Love that number. Dan Marino.
Making a big difference right here. You talk about confidence, you have to have that in order to wear.
Absolutely.
1-3, and you see the impact of the gentleman who just used it effectively. Van Overbeek, the latest to score for High Point. 1:45 left, and it is now an 8-0 run for the Panthers.
Early. Give them something to work with. You have to have something at the start to make you believe that it's doable.
Well, you look at the conference honors that were handed out. Obviously, Jacksonville for their defensive efforts honored along the way there. Off the accelerator at any point since they scored. Remember, in the first minute as well, we talked so much about that goal which came 6 seconds in from Jacksonville, but let it not be forgotten that High Point answered with a goal within that. In this conference, and a couple of the associate members of the league, Jacksonville and High Point, who have become a staple in this men's lacrosse championship. A floodgate opener, and it's Griner again. He scored both of the Jacksonville goals in this contest for numbers 12 and 13 on the season.
Well, they're so glad to obviously have him here today. He's provided the offense. Glad to have him back after an injury to his wrist, Jason. Kept him out for some time, but has really come back and has picked his game up and has been able to provide the only offense to this point for the Dolphins.
Establishing themselves in the scoring department.
Well, sometimes that's what it takes. Just a goal to kind of get your feet settled again. And again, we said this at the half. Face-offs is something that Jacksonville is the 4th goal of the day, and that is exactly what Jacksonville needs. Goddard with a tremendous assist.
And Jeremy Winston alongside Dolan now, and Griner, who has a couple of goals. Enough disruption as we've seen tonight, and that is the 20th such successful man-up scenario for High Point. They've converted 20 times in 46. They broke a 10-0 run by the Panthers with a 3-0 run of their own, but High Point with an 11th goal to close out the quarter. And Dolan with his 28th of the year, coming a bit earlier.
This is where these face-offs become big. If Jacksonville can continue to win them, they can keep the momentum.
There's the 11th one, and this looks a lot like the start of the game, except this one
they're going to try to look for him more so he's able to find a teammate. And another face-off win by Jacksonville. looking necessarily for his shot, but looking for his open teammates. He understands, obviously, with those program record goals, defense is going to be keying on him, especially after he scores. And just a great job of recognition by 44 in green.
Faceoff specialists working their way off to the far side. And think about this, Phil. After those 2 goals for Winston there, one of the facilitators, you talk about the way that it has been facilitated by Tyler, this run. But Greiner, who started the scoring tonight, had the 2 goals that held.
Again, this is where face-offs become very, very important. And High Point, if they can win one, they can stem this momentum a little bit. But with every face-off win, Jacksonville sees that momentum ramp up a little bit more.
Just won their 15th of the night. 15 face-offs won by Jacksonville.